A coworker asked if I could build an ESP32 powered robot rat. So I did, and I thought I had a pretty good prototype until I put it on the floor. And that's when I started to learn things the hard way. I felt like the front was too heavy and it didn't move as well as I liked. So I learned a few things right there that'll make version 2 much better. The idea behind this project was to build an ESP32 powered robot rat for training and introduction to behavioral studies. So the robot's supposed to be designed to move through an environment and explore on its own and react to what's around it. When I started building it, I put it on a simple differential drive chassis. That way I could manually drive it and test everything with a wireless ESP32 remote using ESP-NOW. I want the remote control option, but I also want to be able to flip a switch to hand control over to a microcontroller. Instead of me driving it, the robot could move around on its own and navigate its environment, and then eventually we'll add some sensors so that it looks more like an autonomous robot rather than me using a remote controlled toy. For the transmitter and receiver, I used the XIAO ESP32-C3. Even though the S3 is the same tiny form factor, the C3 did fine because I didn't need a camera or a microphone or any extra memory that the S3 provides. All I needed was something that was low power, had good wireless connection, and had enough processing power to read the joystick and communicate over ESP-NOW to control the motors. I used a 2-axis analog joystick, which I've used before, and I like it because it has good control rather than just on-off commands. Moving the joystick forward and backward controls the speed of the robot, and if you move it left to right, it gives you differential steering, which changes the speed of each motor independently. For the motors, I used a pair of N20 geared DC motors. They are cheap and they're easy to find, and probably one of the more common motors you'll see in Arduino or ESP32 Robot projects. The built-in gearbox trades speed for torque, so they are better for slow, precise control instead of high speed. For power, I used two 18650 lithium-ion batteries. They're really the only thing I had on hand at the time, but the nice thing about this is that they provided plenty of runtime, so I didn't have to worry about them dying during testing. For the front support, I used a metal ball transfer caster. Probably not the best choice, but I thought it would roll smoothly in any direction and help the robot move around easier. For the chassis, I just kept it simple and I just used what I call hobby wood. It's cheap, it's easy to cut, it's easy to drill, and it makes it really quick to experiment with different layouts rather than having to 3D print custom parts and platforms. Once I finally got everything assembled, it was time for the first test drive, and that's when I started to find weak points in the design. The first thing I noticed is that it's a little slower than I want. I'm using a 104 RPM geared DC motor at 5 volt. Even when I increased it to 6 volts, the difference was barely noticeable. The rat robot moved, but it wasn't quite as lively as I was hoping it to be. This is a DC buck converter. It takes battery voltage and steps it down to the voltage your electronics need. This converter accepts anywhere from 4.5 to 28 volts. I'm using two 18650 batteries, so I'm converting about 7.5 volts to 5 volts power for the ESP32 and the other electronics. What I like about this is that it's a switching regulator, so it's much more efficient than just burning off extra voltage as heat. It's rated for 3 amps, but that is a maximum. You shouldn't run continuous current any higher than about 2.6 amps through this module. Before connecting your electronics, always adjust the output with a multimeter. This is the TB6612 FNG motor driver. You can think of it as the muscle between the ESP32 and the motors. The ESP32 can't supply enough current to drive the motors directly, so it sends control signals to this board, and the driver provides the power the motor needs. The board has separate power connections for the motors and the logic. The motor voltage comes into the VM pin, while the ESP32 powers the logic through VCC. Each motor uses 3 control signals. There's 2 direction pins and 1 PWM pin, pulse width modulation. And by changing the PWM duty cycle, you can smoothly control the motor speed. And by changing the direction pins, you can make it go forward or reverse. The transmitter is built around the ESP32-C3 as well. It reads the joystick position, the operating mode selected by the DIP switch, and the scurry button. And this data is sent wirelessly using ESP-NOW to the robot. The robot's actions are determined by these 3 lines: scurry, autonomous wandering, and manual operation. The joystick allows me to control speed and direction of the robot, and the push button activates the robot's scurry mode. As long as I hold the button, the robot switches to a faster, more erratic movement pattern. The dip switch selects the operating mode. One position will put the robot into manual mode where I can control it with the joystick. The other position tells the robot to wander autonomously, which I may need to work on a little bit. And this is the data that the ESP32 sends over ESP-NOW. And since everything's wireless linked between ESP32 boards, there's no Wi-Fi router, internet connection, or Bluetooth required. If you don't like the scurry option, just for fun, I added some alternative button behaviors at the bottom that you can replace it with, like the charge, freeze, pirouette, or my personal favorite, the sniff and wiggle. When I modify this, it'll have better weight distribution. It does matter where you put it, and I had it too far in front of the wheels. As you can see, the batteries and caster weigh 5 ounces, assuming that the battery holder weighs the same amount as this plastic case. But I felt like the caster alone was just too heavy for this robot. Since the operating weight of the robot is 8.8 ounces, that means that a little over 50% of the total weight is too far forward, too far off balance for a rear drive robot. That's why it's difficult for the wheels to grip the surface during acceleration and turning. To build this, I used a small perf board and I soldered some headers to it to accommodate the ESP32 and the driver board. I also used some stackable long pin female headers and I bent them and soldered them onto the bottom. And I did that to create an extra row of headers to make my own breakout board for this specific project. If I had to do it again, I would probably do it differently, but for this purpose, it works pretty good. Here's the parts list for this project. It includes the ESP32, the motor driver, the buck converter, the dip switch, joystick and batteries, the swivel caster, the N20 motors, the motor mount, the wheels, and the push button. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, join the email list. That's the best way for me to get the files to you, the program files. Check the description for details, and I'll see you again with another video.